Greetings, Captains, and welcome to another TFO trading session. By popular request from last fall, the next TFO we're covering is the Battle of Binary Stars. Prepare to receive objectives.
When the battle starts, defend the Shenzhou, keeping its health above 80% for 4 minutes. Once the next stage starts, you'll need to recover 80 escape pods from 2 separate zones. In the final stage, withstand the Klingon assault and destroy up to 60 enemy vessels while doing so. You have 4.5 minutes to complete this phase, ending the TFO.
Thank you. Now, risks and rewards. This TFO needs modest coordination to play well on Elite with all optionals and without dying. The chief concern here is proper coverage of both zones in the escape pod stage. Enemy threat level is moderately high, as the Mokai do have decent damage output, and there are many of them. Of course, they're also comparatively flimsy, but they just keep coming. This TFO awards a moderate amount of discovery or fleet marks, along with a chance for enchained current pieces. Lastly, this operation's duration is considerable, with a long briefing and 2 long cutscenes, both unskippable, along with a hard time gate in the first stage and soft time gates in the second and third stages. The adversaries on this operation are House Mokai Klingons, led by Takuvma. Takuva's Dreadnought can be targeted when it has non-zero health amounts, but not destroyed. If its health is reduced to 0, it will temporarily become untargetable until it regenerates. This makes it a very tempting target for exotic ships, especially those that lead with a gravity well, and then progress into a variety of ways to deteriorate, decompile, and disintegrate enemies from there. As a great philosopher once said of exotic builds, you make a pile, and then you punch the pile, and Takuva's Dreadnought is the most punchable of targets. The rest of the Mokai ships are numerous but flimsy. The chief consideration for this otherwise straightforward TFO is that you must ensure prompt coverage of both escape pod zones, as losing any of them other than poor Lieutenant Tyler fails the mission. Keep the Klingons away and prioritize escape pod retrieval. Once that stage is done, you can return to blasting. This TFO is quite lengthy and has a long briefing and 2 unskippable cutscenes, so you'll be here for at least 10 minutes. Now, combat footage will be shown to illustrate the principles discussed previously. The goal of this section is not to illustrate perfect piloting, but provide an example of how to successfully complete the map with all objectives and without dying.
Tank builds are largely superfluous on this map and will play similarly to a Fire at Will build. The Mokai are fragile, plentiful, and respawn infinitely all around you. The first stage does not require much in the way of tactics other than staying somewhat near the Shenzhou. If you stay near the Shenzhou with threatening stance on, ideally it shouldn't take any damage. With so many fragile ships, a heavy tank is far more effective than a support tank. Debuffs are simply low impact. One big issue with tanks is that the battlefield is so large that the team spreads out and you can't tank for them if they aren't in range. Just stay near the Shenzhou, that's your objective to tank for. We don't need much in the way of maneuvers here, just stay in the green circle and you'll probably be fine. In the next stage, we're going to split the team up into 2 areas to retrieve escape pods from the Clark and the Jaeger. Immediately use a speed boost like evasive maneuvers to move to an area and start retrieving escape pods. In this case, I move to the Clark zone at the bottom of the minimap. Combat does not interrupt this action and neither does taking damage, so keep firing at will while you do so. but stay in the circle as there is a tether range. With 3 of us at this zone, it progresses fairly quickly. The other zone finishes about the same time, but otherwise move over there if you finish first and help them out.
To receive my envoy.
After the second cutscene receives the envoy, it's time to clean up the Mokai. Blast through 60 of the enemy ships to complete the TFO. There's a 4-minute 30-second time gate on destroying 60 ships, so depending on your DPS, that'll either be trivial or a bit of a challenge. Once all 60 are destroyed, the mission ends.
Captain, if this breakdown helped you in your quest to play Stowe better, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. The link to the specific build used for this tutorial is in the description. For more guides and builds, check us out at www.stobetter.com.